Hey guys, welcome back to Angel Angela. And on this topic, I wanted to talk to you guys about how there's always going to be a new devil for every level. There's always going to be a new narcissistic devil for every level. So I know you guys have heard this, quote many times before, right? And a lot of times when you move up a level, you're wondering to yourself, like, man, I wasn't ready for these new narcissistic devils, right? I wasn't ready for this. A lot of times, when you get to a new level, new job, new opportunities, you take yourself away from old, things that were holding you back. You come across new narcissistic devils and you tell yourself, what am I doing wrong? It's literally very difficult to understand what's happening to you at the moment when you run across narcissistic people who basically start draining your energy. And then when they're gone, it almost feels like they're still sucking your energy, right? And you're trying to get over one narcissistic devil, and then now you're facing a whole bunch of them, and you're wondering maybe what you're doing wrong, or why certain things keep backfiring on you, or why does it seem like, you go into, a new opportunity and you're excited about it, and next thing you know, this new narcissistic, devil destroys you, right? They get you blackballed. And now you're wondering, what am I doing wrong? There's something going on. That energy, it keeps following me. The narcissist energy is following me. Sometimes bad things happen to you with new narcissistic devils, and then the old narcissistic devil comes back in your life at that right moment. And you might feel to yourself, man, I was really trying hard to level up. And next thing you know, I got dragged back down here, and boom, the narcissist shows up at the right time. They're all of a sudden they're going through something. They've had an epiphany. They miss you. All of a sudden, they care, right? Sometimes people will show you, support or do for you in those moments. And, sometimes it's not by accident. Sometimes, you really needed their help, and then they betray you. And then when they betray you, you still want to give them some type of loyalty, but they've turned into a devil now, meaning that God used them for a little bit, but you're really not supposed to stay there. They're like, here, welcome back. Welcome back with open arms, welcome back. They're telling you, sob stories. Sometimes these sob stories aren't even true. Sometimes they're just telling you stuff because they're assuming that because you allowed them back in, you opened that door back up. They're assuming that you don't know what's going on. You don't know that, they're testing you out. This is why they're able to test you out, hoover you in, and even disappear sometimes. Because to them, it's like, okay, you didn't make it to another level. You didn't pass that level. You thought you were going to get rid of me that easily, right? You thought just because time has passed by, I wasn't able to get you back. See, the reason you cannot move up a level, the reason you can't fight those demons that are coming at you when you're trying to level up is because you keep coming back to the past, to old devils. You keep coming back to the past, to old devils. Bad things happen to you when you're trying to level up. You're trying to break that force that that bubble the narcissist put you in. You're trying to leave the cage now that the door is open, but you're afraid. You're afraid, and when something doesn't go right, you give up and you go back to the past. You go back to what you're comfortable with. The narcissist hoovers you almost at the right time sometimes. Sometimes you feel so bad. You're like, I'm familiar with that devil over there. I might as well go back to that devil because at least I'm familiar with that devil. These other devils, I'm not familiar with them. So you go back because it's a familiar spirit, right? But when you go back, the narcissist is never the same. It's a new person in that body, right? If that's what you want to call it. It's a new entity in that body. And you're looking at the narcissist hoping things will go back to how they used to be. But you're dealing with a whole nother new devil, a whole nother new entity. And that entity knows that you didn't learn that lesson. So what does that narcissistic entity do? It reinforces a whole new scenario, a whole new way of discarding you, a whole new way of betraying you. And it gets worse. The narcissist does not get better. They get worse. You come back to them, what happens? Now they do something it escalates. Now they do something more dramatic. It's like fighting with a narcissist. It's not going to end. It never ends. It never stops. You can keep going back and forth. You might tell yourself, I don't want to be the bigger person. Maybe you might tell yourself, if I get them back, it's going to make me feel good. I know what it feels like. I know what it feels like when I don't do anything. I know what it feels like when people get away with stuff. So now I'm going to do something. And it backfires on you. Because that's another lesson. So you might be with the same devil, but you're learning new lessons through that same devil that you need to know in order to pass that level, because some way, somehow, you still don't get it. That new devil is never the same person. It's never the same. You think, you tell yourself, maybe if I do everything that they like, by the time you come back, it's not even the same person. It's something else. And it's just a new lesson that needs to be learned. The narcissist is looking at you like you're a stranger. They're looking at you almost like they never even knew you. There's no connection there to you, to anyone. The narcissist comes into people's lives and they push their buttons. They can only put you through, what you allow. How much can you take? God will never put you in situations where you can't handle what's going on. So this has nothing to do with God. God is not at fault. God is trying to help you, but yet you'll do things knowing the answer. You'll do things knowing you shouldn't be doing them. You'll be around people you shouldn't be talking to. You'll be going back to the past, staying stuck in the past, wondering why things aren't changing. You'll be hanging out with the same devils that have betrayed you multiple times. They've already exposed that they're devils. But because you feel familiar to them, you'll keep them around, trusting them. Meanwhile, they're always plotting on you. Meanwhile, even if they seem like good friends, deep down inside, it might be a devil. Even if it seems like they're good friends, that person might be love bombing you, and it might not be who you think they are. Just like the narcissist will be around certain friends and you'll see that they'll treat them really well while watching you sink down and almost destroy yourself. So you could be in the hospital bed, literally ready to die. You sacrificed everything for the narcissist, gave them everything, and they couldn't even come see you, because that's what a devil would do. And now that devil is over there having fun, right? Treating everyone else better. And you're thinking to yourself, that narcissist devil, they're treating everyone better. And I'm the one that was there by their side. Where is their compassion? Where is their empathy, their remorse? When you run across a narcissistic devil and they show you who they are, believe them. That's someone that is consumed with themselves, that only thinks about themselves. That's someone that is stuck at a certain level. That's someone that is stuck at a certain level and they keep repeating the same things, inviting spirits, getting darker and darker and darker until they can't go back. They don't want to learn the lesson. And the more they don't learn that lesson, the more filled with sin they become, making them more wicked. This is someone that can't change. See, you on the other hand, you're going through all this and you actually have the opportunity to change, right? Because you understand what's going on. The problem is that some people don't take serious what's going on with them when they're dealing with the narcissist, meaning that when you start to see, hey, bad things are manifesting. Every time I'm around this person, things are going missing. Every time I'm around this person, I feel like my energy is drained. I feel like this person always talks about themselves, but the moment I start talking about myself and I'm, sharing my traumas with them, thinking we're bonding each other through these traumas and we're going to support one another and we're going to, we're connecting through our pain. But now you think your pain is more important than mine. You're brushing my pain off. You're telling me to just move on and you're giving me advice that you can't take for yourself because you need me every day. And now you're giving me bogus advice just because you feel like that's what I want to hear. So if you don't catch on, what you will see is that this person's behavior will just continue to become more diabolical. Because now you're going to something familiar thinking it's going to save you. And this person is misguiding you, taking your energy, your time away from yourself. And you might be thinking they're not getting nothing out of it. They're taking your time. They're stealing your time while they're building themselves up because you're making them feel special. And now they move on up. They play you. And now everything that you worked hard for all of a sudden turns to dust again. More sinister. And you'll keep going through experiences with these narcissists that you feel familiar to. Meaning that it's going to get worse and worse and worse until you wake up and tell yourself, I need to get the hell out of here. I've learned my lesson. As a matter of fact, every time the narcissist hoovered me back in, they became a new person. See, if you don't learn the lesson, you'll just bump into another narcissist who will play the same game on you. And you'll just have to repeat the cycle. And if you choose to repeat the cycle with them and go back to the past, to the same narcissist that broke you, just because the new narcissist did this to you, when you go back, these devils, they're multiplying. You might think to yourself, I'm going back to what's familiar. So technically, it's not a new level. Because I'm going back to what's familiar. It's not a new level. But when you do go back, it does become a new level. Because you can switch people out. But if you haven't learned the lesson, you can switch these devils out. You can switch one for a new one. You can go from one job to a new job. You can go from one location to another location. But if you haven't learned the lesson, you will not evolve. Meaning that you'll keep running into the same people. The same people you feel familiar with will keep putting you through hell. So sometimes what a lot of people will say is, I spent a lot of years with the narcissist, right? And they'll feel like, if I wasn't with the narcissist, I would have been with someone else, or I would have done this, or I would have felt like this, or I would have bumped into someone that, or I wouldn't have been in such a serious relationship so quickly and focused on something else, right? You can tell yourself, you can give yourself many different scenarios on and be upset about why you wasted so much time with someone. But the actual reality, because this is not a fairy tale story, the actual reality is that it didn't matter how much time you wasted with the narcissist, because either way it goes, all the obstacles that you went through with the narcissist, if you hadn't met them or been with them, you would have still had to learn those lessons, even if it was in other ways. Meaning that, so if you weren't in a serious relationship, you could have been going to school, right? Getting your degree, and you're dealing with a narcissist at school, maybe in your dorm, and you're trying to accomplish goals. You're super serious, and then you have people around you that aren't taking it serious, and because they're not taking it serious, they're trying to bring you down, and they start doing manipulative tactics, gaslighting you, tormenting you. And then the moment you blow up or you act out of character, they're like, look, they're triangulating you with flying monkeys. They're making you look like you're the narcissist and they're the victims, and you'll go from one place to another, to another, to another. Then you go to a job, you're seeing the triangulation. You're seeing all these different tactics. And you can tell yourself, oh man, I got fired. This always happens to me. You're going to continue going through the same obstacles, because for every level, there's a different devil. It doesn't mean that it has to be a different person. It could be the same person. It could be going through the same opportunities, and somehow these opportunities don't go the way you want them to, because there's a lesson in that. There was something that happened that you didn't pay attention to. Sometimes you go into situations, you go into jobs and places, and you think to yourself, today is a new day and it's just the same like yesterday. No, there's a new devil, meaning that, yeah, your coworker, you might get along with them, but they might be a devil today. There might be someone that you don't get along with, and now they're taking things to another level, right? There's lessons and there's levels to it. So you might tell yourself, oh, I get it. I've been coming to this job for years, but for every level, there's a new devil, meaning that, yeah, I haven't leveled up as far as I haven't got a promotion yet. But now that I broke up with the narcissist, and now that I can focus on my work, I'm getting close to that promotion, right? I'm getting close to it because I learned a big lesson being with the narcissist. I learned to have patience. I learned to control my temper. I learned, to have boundaries, so you leveled up in your mind. You might still be at the same job, but now you leveled up in your mind. All of a sudden, your coworker that you got along with doesn't like you anymore. All of a sudden, just because she sees that your personality is changing, you're becoming stronger, all of a sudden, your coworker doesn't like you. Now that's that new devil for that new level. So it's not a new face, but it's a new devil, meaning that they just flipped the switch on you. They just flipped the switch on you. So the narcissist can hoover you back, or you can go back to the past because you're afraid of moving forward to the future. You're afraid to face new devils. So you stay stuck in a place where you feel comfortable with familiar devils, only that the familiar devils are the new devils. And you're just going to have to go through a harder and harder test. And this is why a lot of times, people feel this fear inside of them, because they're scared of the unknown. You're scared. You're like, I don't want to meet no new devils. Oh, I feel like everyone's after me, or I feel like, they're trying to destroy me, or, you know, or you start to see that the people closest to you, the people that are sitting at your table are people that you should be watching out for now. They were the people that you can trust, and then it gets to the point where you don't know who to trust, right? You're like, I don't know who to trust. And you can sit there and separate yourself from the world and tell yourself, hey, I'm just going to hide in this island by myself. The problem with that is that you'll become your own devil if you do that. You'll sit in that island, and now you're facing your own demons. You're facing your own demons, and if you don't want to face your demons and then you become more afraid, the anger grows inside of you. The narcissistic rage grows inside of you. The jealousy, the revenge for the narcissist grows inside of you. And that's exactly what the narcissist wants. They want you to fight everyone. They want you to turn on people. They want you to, the moment you see a narcissistic trait, they want you to be afraid. They want you to turn on people. They want you to expose people. But we all know the more you expose these people, the more they attack. The narcissist wants to get you alone. They want you to torment yourself. So this is why you have to let go. You have to learn to forgive. You have to learn to move on. You have to learn that everything is just a lesson, and you have to just keep going and allow God to bring to you what you deserve. And, whatever you're going through, it's always good to wonder why you might be going through that and what you can do to change that. But if you don't change it, you're going to repeat these things. And then when you repeat these things, you become your own enemy, meaning that now things are repeating and you're wondering, why does it seem like every time around this year the same things are happening? How do I break this cycle? How do I break this curse? And once you break that curse, once you understand what's going on, there'll be new things that happen, new things that repeat themselves. But life goes on. That's what life is about. You're always learning. This is how you go to different levels, is by learning. This is why a lot of times you're testing the narcissist out just as much as the narcissist is testing you. They're studying you as an empath. You're studying them, and they're, and then you come to terms where now you have to use certain tools to make it to the next level, just as the narcissist has to use certain tools to make it to another level. The problem with narcissists is that they got in too deep. They went down that rabbit hole where that person is gone. That person is a goner. And because they're a goner, they come to you repeating who you are back to you. Because at the end of the day, the battle is within yourself. So while you're busy worried about all the other devils, while everyone is gossiping about devils and they're gossiping about their devils, and you're coming together because of these devils, and everyone is just in distress and confusion, can't none of these people fight their own demons? Isn't that crazy? None of them can fight their own demons. And once you do, the narcissist will come back around to test you out and tell you that you aren't who you say you are. Once you come out of that trap, that entrapment, the narcissist wants to label you still as someone who is fighting themselves and fighting others. This is why they get off on any stories that you tell them. Because to them, it's like, oh, yeah, you haven't healed. I just came back to check to make sure you haven't healed because I haven't healed. I'm going from supply to supply. I'm doing things. I'm repeating cycles that I can't get out of. And they just keep getting worse. And the worse they keep getting, the worse my condition keeps getting. This is why they come back around. This is why they spy on you. This is why they put out information for you to be jealous about. They want you to watch them too. They're hoping you're watching. Every time they post something, they're hoping you're watching them. They're hoping to make you jealous. And a lot of times, when you feel like you switch lives with them, and they're living your life, it's like, why would I be jealous of you? I've already been at your level. You're at my level, but consciously, you're not going to make it because there's levels to it to remain in that level. You're trying to con your way into a level, but that's not who you are inside. So you will always go back to where you came from. So, I hope that this message, you guys, was helpful. I hope it made sense to you guys. I know a lot of times, even myself, like, I was always like wondering, where's that new devil? Where's that new devil coming from? I can't go back to the past. But then you're not understanding how that energy works. And then you'll find yourself alone. And then now you're battling these things within yourself, which is okay. But if you don't get out of there, you'll want to get out of there and you won't be able to. So that's why. And you already know that certain things you can't come back from. So once you know this information, once you feel it in your soul and your spirit, and someone clarifies it to you and you're like, yeah, that's kind of what I've been feeling, then there's no excuse anymore. And you can try to play with the universe and trick the universe, but the universe knows what you're thinking. It knows when you're saying, I'm going to act like I don't know that. And that's why when you go through things and you want people to be remorseful or show you empathy because you're going through something, some people won't feel sorry for you because they know that you're paying for what you did or for the consequences of your own actions, and you just don't want to accept it. So you want to drop off your energy on them. And some people are not willing to take that, and you can't be mad at them because guess what? Now if you're mad at that person because they just don't want to give you free energy. Now, guess what? You're going to pay the price for that because you're expecting people to give you free energy. You're going to pay the price for it because that's your energy. You have to protect your energy. You have to build your energy up. So the narcissist, you guys, they feed off of that. Positive, negative, they don't care. They feed off of that. So I hope that, you guys, have a good one. And I'm sending you guys lots of love, light, peace in your healing. If you guys enjoyed this and you guys are new, subscribe, like, share, comment, if you guys want to book a session with me, my booking information will be on the description. Just give me about 24 hours to respond to you guys. And as always, I'll talk to you guys on the next podcast. Love you guys. Bye.